During May, I took a lot of photos I really liked, but none that I could really make a full video out of. So I've kind of decided to group together all of these images that I took over the month and make one full video about it. This is heavily inspired by William Verbeck's photos I took in March or whatever month it is. But with that all said, these are the photos I took in May. I got my hands on a new box brownie in May, and I thought taking some self-portraits on this would be really fun. The brownie itself is a lot older compared to my other ones, which are a bit more stylized, which is why I kind of like it. It's got a bit of a grit to it. And for these, I just kind of took long exposures of myself kind of moving in the mirror. I had also just had my hair cut, so I was just kind of trying to show off my new heart pattern in my hair. But not only did I stop here after taking the images, I also wanted to try some experimental process of destroying the images. I used to do this a lot during A-levels, and I'm a bit rusty after my first year of uni, so trying to get back into it was a bit interesting. For this process, I used this drain cleaner, as it's really abrasive against the film and can destroy the emulsion instantly. I didn't go in too hard on destroying the emulsion, I kind of just dabbed it about with a cotton earbud, and then after damaging them and washing them, I decided to grow some salt crystals. This wasn't anything crazy, it was just submerging them in salt water overnight and letting them dry, and the results are actually quite interesting. I really liked how this one came out, as the salt crystals have all clustered in one area. This one kind of has a funny story behind it. The night that I let them out to dry, I just put them on my bathroom floor and I went out drinking. So when I came home, I went toilet and I accidentally just stepped on them without realising, and because of that the salt crystals have grown in the kind of shoe pattern I put on it, which I think is kind of cool. After doing this bit of experimental photography, I wanted to go at it again with some 35mm images, but I didn't really know what to take images of, so I just took photos of my hands taken on the Pentax Epsio point and shoot that I have. There's nothing too stunning about these images before the damage, it's more what I did after. For the destruction of these images, I mixed a solution of the drain cleaner and water together and put it in a spray bottle, which kind of let me control where I wanted the damage to be. I grew salt crystals overnight like before, and the results are kind of cool. I really like this kind of style. For this shoot, I was really trying to emulate a shoot I did almost a year ago using the same kind of process, and I think the results are very clearly the same, and I think it works really well with the handprints as well. I have a little film sketchbook that I do alongside all of my work. I use the sketchbook to kind of document the damage and manipulation I do to film, as I find it kind of interesting. Now that it was May, summer was coming along greatly and it was very warm in Brighton, so I decided to try out doing some Lumen prints that I've never done before. I did make a full video on this process, so I'm not going to go into it too deep here, but pretty much you're taking darkroom paper and flowers and exposing them to UV light for a duration of about an hour, and it creates these really unique prints, and I'm really happy with how my results came out with this. I only made 4 prints and I'm quite happy, especially with the last 2, but I definitely intend to do more. I've got some expired kentmere darkroom paper that I want to try and make them with, because apparently if you use expired paper they can come out even more funky. One thing that I've actually realised I've started doing recently is shooting digital. I've been predominantly shooting film photography now for about 2 years, but digital photography is very different to film photography for me, so that's why I haven't really done it recently. But there was a strike going on over mass redundancies at my uni, and I decided I wanted to go out and document the strike. I shot a total of nearly 1,000 images and only picked about 20 that I really liked, but I was really happy with how some of these came out, and I'm definitely starting to appreciate digital photography more alongside with film photography as well, whereas in the past I was very only film photography. Another shoot I did in May was my Lomography turquoise shoot, which I did make a full video on. Lomography turquoise is a unique colour negative film which pretty much dyes the emulsion kind of orangey cyan, which results in really interesting images. In that video I kind of summarised I don't know if I would shoot the film again, but since then I've really fell in love with these images and I really want to go back and shoot another roll of it. Also this month I wanted to test out a new camera I have, the Zeiss Natar. This camera is a medium format 6x6 point and shoot pretty much, and the images that this thing can produce are beautiful. Zeiss is known for its renowned quality in its lenses, and I can definitely see it in these images. They are sharp and beautiful. I was really happy with these results, so that's why I'm including them here. May was also the last month of my first year at university, and for my final project we were studying photography and fiction. This was pretty much a very broad project. I could do almost anything I wanted to, because what is fiction? For it I definitely chose a very easy option, but I had a lot of contextual backing which made it very good. I chose to reimagine Bernard and Hiller Becker's famous water tower typologies in GTA 5. Finding water towers along the virtual world of Los Santos, setting weather conditions, framing them, and taking screenshots of the water towers, and then finally taking images of my laptop on film and printing them in the darkroom. I won't really go into the whole contextualness. There's also another artist I looked at who does a very similar thing with making real life landscapes into video game ones. The project did really good and I'm really happy with the images. Another digital shoot I did this month was one that I'm calling Doorway. It was more of a proof of concept than an actual shoot with a purpose, but pretty much I saw a zine on Instagram which was pretty much the same kind of location taken throughout multiple periods of the year, and I thought I wanted to try this out. So what better place to do it than looking out the window of my accommodation. I took over 1,500 images for this shoot and I probably picked out 30 that went into the kind of final images. Like I was saying, this is more proof of concept. I don't think I'd actually do anything with these images, but it was definitely a fun experience just kind of sitting at my camera all day waiting for something to happen. And finally this month I ended it how I started it, with more self-portraits. Using a 35mm adapter in my Yashica 24, I took some trichromatic self-portraits on 35mm film. I haven't done a trichromatic set of images in a while and I did make a video on them in the past, but it wasn't very good. Pretty much you're taking black and white film and then taking an image 3 times, one with a red filter, one with a blue filter and one with a green filter, then merging the image's colour channels together to create a kind of fake black and white image. Now there are a lot of people who try and be perfectionists about this process and trying to make it look as much as a colour image as possible, but I like to emphasise more on the imperfections of doing this process, which is why self-portraits are a brilliant thing. I can move in every single image and it creates these overlapping layers like you can see in these final images. This is the one I'm most happy with. I especially like how my hands interact with the camera and this is kind of like a whole snaky mess of different fingers. The other 2 I messed up on focusing, which I don't even know how I managed that. Like, I'm so stupid. I look back at myself and be like, why did you do that? These also ended up in my sketchbook that I've been showing throughout this video. I'm very happy with how these came out. But yeah, thank you for sticking around for this video. I was just trying out something a bit different, just kind of documenting photos I've taken over the month of May. Again, all credit goes to William Verbeck. He kind of created this idea and it's definitely a thing I would like to do in the future if people want to see it. Thank you for watching and Matt out.